Hello everyone, this is Chris, and today we're going to be looking through my sketchbook. This is a sketchbook I had from 2014, 2015, so when I was kind of like a junior in high school. I'm a sophomore in college now, so I feel like I've come a little bit of a long way from what I used to draw in here. But I wanted this video to kind of talk about how a style, like a drawing style, is developed. And I feel like this sketchbook is a really a good representation of how I found my drawing style. And like a lot of the beginning stuff in this book is like really shitty, and I feel like that's good because it showed that I got better, and I found like what I wanted to draw and how I wanted to draw it. So if you don't have a style and you don't draw well or whatever, just remember that it takes time, and it took me this whole sketchbook for me to find my style. And hopefully, at the end of this sketchbook, maybe you'll get inspired to make your own. Okay, so this is what appears to be a self-portrait of me, and it was drawn in pencil. Another thing to notice about it is that I'm really young in this. I mean, I'm a super short guy, and puberty didn't really do much for me in, terms of growing. So, yeah, I look like a 10-year-old, but I was like 14 when I drew this. And another thing to notice is that the hair, like the sheen in the hair, this is when I first started like experimenting with it. And I got fucking obsessed with perfecting this sheen in the hair later on. And I was like that weird creep who was like drawing people's hair from across the room and trying to get like the highlights in their hair well. And yeah, like later on I feel like I got it later, but here as I'm just starting to experiment with it. Another thing to notice is that on November 15, I have a semi-formal dance from 7 to 9 p.m. when I was a junior in high school. And it was so important to me that I remember that I wrote it in my sketchbook. And yeah, I just thought that was kind of a cute thing to remember. And here's like another example of me experimenting with style. I mean, I really didn't stick with this style. I'm not that edgy Fallout Boy, nose ring, all black t-shirt kind of guy. But yeah, I think horror was like something that I wanted to try out and like kind of make a scary face, even though the face is not really scary at all. But I think that trying new things is really important when you're drawing, and I think this one might be scarier. But like, you just remember to try new things and like keep an open mind about what kind of drawings you want to make, and that'll help you like narrow down what you want to make later on. Again, as I said, like a lot of the early stuff when I'm trying to find a style is really experimental and shitty. And here's another example of like a really shitty thing that I tried. I suck dick at like capturing color. I can't make colors look like natural. I mean, like, this drawing looks like a bull took a deuce on a dog's head. But I still think it's okay because like I learned, don't fuck with color. No colored pencils, just stick with pencils or with pens. Here's a drawing of, like, a girl from my class, and I thought that she was super edgy and cool, and I had a huge crush on her, but obviously we were, like, 14 when I drew this, so I wanted to make her as edgy as possible, so I gave her, like, a cigarette, but obviously I don't think she would have done that in real life, and she's super cool. Here's a drawing of Korra. I was a huge fan, and Korra was just coming out at the time, and I fucking loved Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, I think it's really fitting that I put her in this, like, in my formative art period or whatever. I don't really have much to say about this. Here's, like, me trying something else again. I tried to do, like, a sci-fi background, and I think I do that again in the next drawing. Yeah. I tried to do a sci-fi background, but the reason that I figured out I'm not really, like, into drawing backgrounds is that, like, it just takes so much work, like, drawing all these little buildings or whatever. And, I had a lot of fun, like, drawing this one, obviously, but then you have to draw, like, all the little things. And, like, I just wasn't into that, and I think that it's okay. Like, if I don't have the dedication to be an environmental drawer, or a person who draws environment, it's fine. Like, I can do whatever I want. Like, art is completely up to you, and that's the great thing about it. You just draw whatever you want, whenever you want. And here is me accepting that this takes too much work, and if I want to draw a sci-fi setting, I can do it super easy and with a lot less detail. So there's a story behind this. These are birds that are like living in this floating island in the sky in like these communal these communal houses with like no doors and no windows or anything like that, and they can just like see each other. I think this is kind of just like shoot how scared I was for college and how scared I was to have a roommate and shit like that. But which ended up fine, obviously, because I ended up like rooming with my friend. But yeah, I think the fact that I drew something that I was scared of in this, and I showed like how free they were, was kind of freeing for me, because like I was super scared about how college was gonna be. Everyone was in my face, and I like the fact that these birds were just like so free, and like they were never like constrained by the fact that everyone could see every part of their life. And when I went to college, that wasn't the case. I had nothing to be scared about, obviously. College is a completely fine atmosphere or whatever. And I don't know what those are. And that is complete shit. I try to do a lot of like mixing between pencil and ink, and I feel like I really didn't get it down with my early attempts, and everything I had to do with color just like sucked so much ass, so I just stopped. Again, yeah, I'm not good with color, and this is me trying to do that 3 marker challenge that everyone was doing. I was a total social media hoe back then. I was always on Facebook, always on Tumblr, so I followed shit like this. I think this is the first like drawing where I like started to capture my style. I mean, like I'm still drawing in pencil here, and like eventually I think my style is more with like pens and ink. But like I can see a lot of like the progenitors or the predecessors of the things that I was gonna do later on, like the hair, like this shine, and like the highlight in the hair, if you can see it, and like the way that her eyes are drawn, I think kind of led on to some of the later things. And that is just the weirdest drawing of the devil I've ever seen. And I really like dragons. I don't have much drawings of dragons in this sketchbook, surprisingly, but when I was like 10 years old, all I drew was dragons, and dragons are how I got into drawing. So if you like drawing dragons, you're cool. And this is the first like indicator of like what my later style would be. I mean, this is really shitty, and like the highlight in the hair is really bad, and like look at this hairline. I mean, like it looks like she just came out of like the Cabbage Patch Kids. But either way, I think that like the way that this is inked is like really indicative of how I was gonna link ink later on. And this is just me trying new things. Again, like, try as many new things as you can. Trying new things is not a bad thing, and I mean, I never stuck with this shading style. I think it looks bad, but I mean, it's good that I tried it out and I saw, like, the merits of it. Oh yeah, and this is when I figured out I do not work well with pencil or charcoal or lead or whatever. It just gets too dark for me, and like, I have a hard time like making highlights because I start having to erase. And I don't know, I wasn't really good with pencils. And I started to like compare, like, oh, should I do ink or should I do pencil? And I started leaning more towards ink. Oh, this is just some shit. Ooh, I like this one though. Okay, here we go. This is the style that I eventually like settled down on. I mean, like, when I say style, I just mean like kind of like signature things that I did. I would just draw the face, and then I would put like a black hair, and then I would shade the hair with like highlights and stuff. I really love making hair where you like just fill it in and then like put highlights. I just think it looks really pretty, And obviously here, like this shading is also something experimental I tried by making it black, but it just like obviously it merges with the hair and it looks really shitty. But yeah, I think this is kind of the style that I eventually settled on. And this is a drawing of Gurren Lagann that I was gonna do, but I just got really like tired, which is another weird motif in my drawings apparently. What the fuck is this? Shit! Okay, and I feel like this is where I really hit my stride as like an artist or whatever. Not only was I like doing like the highlights shit in the hair and like I feel like I really got it down. Like I started knowing where to put the highlights. I started like doing little shading things with a felt tip marker. And it just like, I think this is when it started, like the things I started to do started to look good. Oh, my sister drew this. It says Pro Hatch. I don't really have any commentary on it, but I think it's funny. And yeah, I think this is the style I had. I'll just show you the rest. I don't really have much to say about the rest. Here's something interesting about this one. I really liked, the fact that I was starting to be a little less, like, realistic with the way I was drawing her. I mean, like, this eye isn't really, like, a real eye in the way, like, this is a real eye. And I also liked, kind of, like, instead of, like, drawing a background, I just started, like, filling space with shit. And, I don't know, I feel like I've dropped away from that, and I want to do it again. And that's another thing about, like, making these sketchbooks, is, like, even if you forget about all, like, the experiments you made or whatever, you just look back through, and you remembered what worked and what didn't. And these are my last drawings in the sketchbook that I wanted to show you guys. And I feel like these ones are, like, really epitome of, like, of where I ended up with, like, the sketchbook and where it took me. And getting a sketchbook and drawing in it, maybe once a week even, I feel like is a really helpful experience and helps you like narrow down what you want to do with art in general. And obviously, like, I feel like that applies to everything. Like, if you want to be a really good pianist, you play every day. And eventually I found my style by like drawing every day in this sketchbook. And I hope this video helped someone or inspired someone because they saw my shitty drawings become slightly better. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will upload something else that is not just me bragging about my drawings at a later date. Thanks!